In the past, young Nebula and Gamora races towards a prize. Gamora challenges Nebula to hand-to-hand combat. Nebula accepts the challenge and gains the upper hand by throwing Gamora off a cliff. Gamora, hanging on for dear life, convinces Nebula to reach out her hand and assist. As Nebula reaches out her hands, Gamora betrays her by throwing her off the cliff and be declared the winner. Nebula awakens in a healing tank. Her body, badly damaged, survived the fall. Thanos approaches the tank and says that her cybernetic implants are superior than her flesh. Flesh is weak. Weakness must be cast aside for power. The scene jumps to a more mature Nebula and Gamora out in space. Their ship is damaged and insufficient to carry out their mission. Nebula turns to Gamora for guidance. Gamora tells Nebula that weak must be cast aside for power. They set a course to crash land onto their target. As the ship nears its target, Gamora and Nebula eject. The explosion catches up to them and they fall unconscious. The scene jumps to the two girls sleeping in the healing tanks. Thanos looks on in approval of his two warriors. Present day. Nebula is falling from space to a planet at high speed. Death will come from burning up during the fall or crash landing onto the planet. Nebula survives the burnout and her wings deploy. Radio communication kicks in and her commander asks why she has disobeyed commands and began the infiltration. Nebula says that the Master needs the orb, and if she does not act now, the window of opportunity will close. She reaches a sky compound, but the defensive weaponry targets and attacks her. She evades the explosion and creates multiple holograms to misguide her attackers. She casts aside her armor and wings and begins to fall. Nebula launches a grappling hook and swings towards the building. Her metal gloves allow her to dig into the buildings as she climbs to safety. She enters the compound, but the drones attack. As she realizes that the orb is not there, a laser net captures her, rendering her useless. Seconds later, the drones eat a ton of bullets and falls to the floor. Gamora walks in wielding a guilty rifle. Gamora receives a radio from Thanos, whom tells her to leave Nebula. Gamora asks if he would like her dead or leave her for the enemy. Thanos tells her to leave Nebula and allow her weakness to turn into her, just like Gamora. So in this issue, we dive deep into the past of not only Nebula, but Gamora as well. These two are like sisters that trained in the same camp, and they do not have any remorse for each other except to serve their master Thanos. The most interesting part about this issue was all the flashbacks. I was never much interested in Nebula. Hell, I didn't even know who she was until I read this issue. I love the relationship between Gamora and Nebula. I love how they grew up together and experienced a lot together. This issue makes Gamora out to be the bad guy and Nebula being the relatable one, so I was rooting for her the whole time. Knowing this, it adds so much more depth to the character of Nebula, and this makes me super excited to watch the Guardians movie when Nebula and Gamora get reunited on the big screen. So the whole point of her mission was to find this orb that everyone seems to be hunting. I think it is safe to say that the orb will be the center focused object in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, much like the Tesseract in Captain America 1 and the Avengers movie. Nebula obviously fails in her hunt and Gamora comes out like a badass and kills everyone. I think I am overthinking this, but deep down I think Gamora loves Nebula like family, but her ruthless training has made them into emotionless killers. So what I would love to see in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie is a scene that can explore more of Nebula and Gamora's relationship. Anyway, I highly recommend you check out my last video that occurs right after the end credits of Thor: The Dark World, where we meet the Collector. The link will be in the description below. So thank you very much for watching my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Prelude. If you'd enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.